Hello and welcome to another vlog because apparently that's all I film because I'm lazy and vlogs require the least amount of effort but like the most amount of talk about whatever I feel like in any given moment. So that's what we're doing for now. I kind of had, well, it is Monday, June 15th. And yesterday, I kind of had a treat yourself day where I went downtown and I went to like one of my favorite restaurants that has terrible hours considering I live an hour away. And I went to my favorite bakery at a little chocolate store and like the apothecary and like all my favorite little shops in the city that I don't go to very often now that I live an hour away. So it was kind of like a little bit of a, don't spend all the money in the world, but like buy yourself a little treat from each of these places. And I also went to the bookstore down there and I bought 3 books. So I am planning to go to a giant book fair in a few weeks, and I would feel a lot better about myself if I read the books that I bought yesterday before I went to the book fair. I would feel much more open about actually buying more books at the book fair, which is, the point of going to a book fair is to buy books. If I read the books that I bought, so I have like 2 weeks in which to read these 3 books. So I figured I'd just vlog it because, to be honest, I was going to do a vlog reading Rebecca because that was my book club pick for this month, and my idiot brain really thought that it was next week, and then it turns out it's tomorrow, and I only just realized that today, and I was like, that's not enough time to read Rebecca for the first time, so we're reading these instead. First up, we have A Burning by Megha Majumdar, which is contemporary fiction set in India about a young Muslim girl from the slums who is accused of a terrorist attack. It looks very political. It looks very like of the times. I was mixed on getting this book because I feel similarly towards this picking it up as I did American War by Omar Al-Akid, where because the premise is so political, I'm concerned that it's going to be more like shallow message driven propaganda than like a deep exploration of the issues. And it wasn't particularly well reviewed on Goodreads. It was like 3.5 stars or whatever, which is not great, but also like doesn't mean it's bad. But I really liked American War. I felt like that had a lot of depth and development. So like that doesn't mean that this book will be bad, because if it actually explores the issues, I'm very interested. So we'll see. That one is the one that I'm most like mixed feelings about. And then I have The Fantasies of Future Things by Doug Jones, which is about 2 gay black men in Atlanta, and it's kind of an exploration of race and sexuality and all of that. This is literary fiction. This is slightly better reviewed, and it looked fascinating, and it was on one of their Pride displays because they had many Pride displays. They also had bags of like sapphic bundles, like mystery books or like Blind Date with the Books, that are just like, were just bags of like sapphic romances where they were just like, here's $15, you buy 3, you get surprise gay books. And I was like, I want that, but also I don't really read romance. There's not really much point. So I got other things instead. But I did pick up one of their Pride display books because this one looked like the most geared towards me of the lot. And then the last book I picked up, which is probably the first one I'm going to start reading, is The 57 Bus by Dashka Slater. This is a true crime book about an attack on a young person in Oakland, California. I'm not actually familiar with this crime, but one teenager set another teenager on fire, and it was a hate crime. And this book, I think, is about the aftermath of all of that. From what I can tell, it has a lot of discussions on like race and gender and kind of how people recover from that as both the perpetrator and the victim, and like everyone surrounding them, and justice. And I don't know, it looked like it was a lot more about what happened after the crime, which I I find more interesting in true crime books. So I think I'm going to start with this one because I am just like really more into nonfiction right now, but I picked up this 2 fiction books. So I'll get started on this and I will check back in whenever I make progress. But I hadn't heard of any of these books before, so I really am going in with little to no expectations here. I have made progress on The 57 Bus by Dashka Slater, and not much progress, I'm gonna be honest. But I did start it, and I'm at a stage in my reading where, like, I read 25 pages last night, so we're gonna talk about it because that's 25 pages more than I've read at any other point this month. So I did start it. And basically what it amounts to is I've read like the introduction and the first 2 chapters, and I'm not certain how I feel because it's very overwritten, like, first of all, which I don't think is like the worst thing, because the author has a lot of good ideas. Like, she has things that she's very clearly like conceptual things that she's saying. She's saying them in pretty ways, and it's like I can see the effort that she's putting into writing it, you know, and I don't love that. I think it doesn't super work for me, but it's not terrible. It's just like whatever, like some lines are a little bit annoying, but for the most part it's fine. The other thing that bugs me kind of is her approach to gender, because this book is largely about 2 teenagers, one of whom committed a hate crime against the other, and one of them is agender. She's very precise about gendering them properly, but like the whole prologue of this book and the description, the summary on the inside flap, she like very intentionally didn't use any pronouns for them, which was weird because like I read that and like I started reading the book and I was like, oh, like this kid doesn't use pronouns. They're like 17. I'm not like infantilizing them, they're a child. But she didn't use any pronouns for them at all. So I was like, this kid doesn't use pronouns. And then in the first chapter, she starts like actually getting into like who Sasha is and like describing them. And she's like a lot of non-binary people, Sasha uses they them pronouns. And I don't know, it was like weird to very intentionally not use any personal pronouns for Sasha for like an entire chapter. Like, this was not like, you know, 2 paragraphs. It was like a whole like 8 pages, 10 pages, whatever. And like it was intentional. Like, you could tell in the phrasing she'd gone out of her way to write it so she didn't have to use pronouns. And it was weird. Like, I don't know how to describe it because I don't think it's like offensive or anything. Like, she didn't misgender them, but like intentionally not using pronouns like that feels weird to me. Like, it just like, and then immediately jumping into like using they them pronouns, like, you know, normal. I don't know, like it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. And then the other thing, oh, she dead named them at the end of like the very first chapter about them. She dead named them in a way that like in context contributed nothing. Like, I don't understand why, you know. It's just like she just did, and it just felt weird and rude and like completely unnecessary because it added nothing. Like, there was no reason for it except to like identify them by their assigned gender at birth, which was weird. And like, I don't know, again, I'm not sure I'd call it like offensive. Judging by the way she talks throughout the writing of this book, I think she spent a lot of time speaking with Sasha, so like she very likely got permission to use their dead name. But like, even with permission, there was literally no reason. Like, it added nothing to the section of the book that it was in. It was just kind of like, boom, dead name, and then moved on. And it was just, I don't know, it felt weird and rude, and I wasn't a huge fan. So like, we'll see how it goes from here. I will say my expectations have lowered slightly. Like, I don't think it's bad. It's just like, I think it could be better in a couple of respects. So we'll see. It is Thursday, June 18th, and I actually did what I said I was going to do, and I read. I finished the 57 bus. Technically I finished this last night, but then my dishwasher was running and I fell asleep before it stopped. So you're getting the update, at 9 p.m. on Thursday instead of 9 p.m. on Wednesday. This was 3 stars for me. It wasn't like bad by any means. It felt simplistic. It felt kind of reductive, like I was reading this feeling like there is a lot to discuss in the juvenile justice system in this country, and how horrible it is, and how much it looks at punishment instead of rehabilitation, which is important for everyone, but especially for children. Like, how do you close the door on like a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, like even if they've done something horrific, like that's a child. And she discussed that, but it felt like she was just kind of saying what I just said, which is that there's got to be a better way, and there needs to be focus on other things instead of punishment. And like, yes, I agree, but if you're writing a book where that is one of the major themes, I expect a lot more. And she had like statistics and research included, but it felt so basic. Like, if you've ever like thought about the juvenile justice system, or like read or listened to anything the abolitionists have said, I don't think this book contributes anything in that regard. And I felt like reading this, I didn't really get to know the people involved. I don't think the author really got to know the people involved. It just felt a little bit middle of the road. Like, it wasn't bad. I can see why people would enjoy this. It got better reviews than I feel like it maybe deserves, but like, it's a decent book. Like, I don't regret reading it. I just feel like it could have been a lot better, and it could have been worthwhile. And as it stands, it's probably a book that I will never think about again. Like, I'm immediately unhauling this, because I feel like someone else will enjoy it. Someone else will like reading it. It did very little for me, and I'm kind of disappointed. Not annoyed that I read it, but maybe annoyed that I spent like $7 buying a copy. It was fine. And then I started the second book of the 3, which is The Fantasies of Future Things, and I am like 25 pages in. I read the first chapter last night after I finished that, and that book was a very easy read. Oh, I didn't mention this, but it felt like it was geared towards a younger audience. And the author writes YA, which I didn't know until I read the book, and that makes sense. It read like YA. Like, it was really easily digestible, like really quick, flowed super smooth, like, good vibes. Could have done more, but I started this. I read the first chapter, and what a turnaround, to go from something that was such an easy read. I mean, hard subject matter, obviously, but like such an easy read, to this, which is so exhausting. This is lit fic in like the most lit fic sense. I wanted to read the description on the back because I really don't think I explained this book well at all, and I feel like the 2 sentences or whatever on the back really does a better job. In this powerful debut reminiscent of Barry Jenkins' Moonlight, 2 men in Atlanta reconcile their human dignity with the price of their professional ambitions, working for a real estate development company displacing Black residents in preparation for the 1996 Olympics. So that's what this is about. And this book is a lot. Like, I have not decided how I feel about it yet. It's too soon, and like, I could either at this point like really love it or really hate it, and I'm not sure where it's going, because like, interesting ideas, very interesting ideas. I love the discussions of gentrification, of the Olympics coming to Atlanta, of that effect on the Black and low income residents. Like, interesting. And then you add to that discussion like these 2 men who are, I don't know, falling in love, maybe. I guess. Not there yet. I don't want to say it's overwritten because I haven't decided if it's overwritten yet, but it is heavy on the narration. And I am someone who likes narration. Like, I love books that are really heavy on narration. I often will complain that there's too much dialogue if it's like too heavy on the dialogue for me. This book I was reading, I was just like page after page after page, and I was like, I don't think there's been a single line of dialogue. So I'm like 9 pages in, and I'm like, I don't know if there's been any dialogue. And like, for a book to be too heavy on narration, for me, was a wild experience. But I'm gonna read more of this tonight. This will probably be a much slower read than the 57 bus. I don't know if I like this or hate it yet. So like, we'll check back in once I've made a little more progress and maybe made up my mind. It is Saturday the 20th, and I have been making really good progress on this. I have like 90 pages left, so like, I'm not gonna say I'm almost done, but I am approaching almost done. And I do think once I got a little more into it and a little more used to the writing style, it did get better for me. Because it is just like so much narration. It's so heavy on the narration and so heavy on like the concepts and the ideas and all of that. And it's like fascinating. Like, it's really fascinating. And the parts that are compelling are so compelling and so easily draw me in. But I do think, like, at its core, it is too much. Like, it's too much narration. It's too overwritten. It's too heavy on the ideas. And like, I'm really enjoying it. I'm not sure if this is going to be 3 or 4 stars for me because it is definitely on the border between the two. But unlike the 57 bus, which was 3 stars because it was too bland, this I'm questioning that low because like, it has wonderful moments, but it also kind of struggles along for me, where it's fascinating, but it's more fascinating as a concept than it is as a singular piece of literature. And I don't know, I'm a little bit disappointed because there is like so much potential here. And I can see this author, Doug Jones, I can see him writing other novels that I would really, really love. But for me, it's just like, it's a lot. Like, this book is just a lot. And it's wonderful, and it's a drag sometimes. It's like, I don't want to say it's lacking in story, but I wish it was more heavy on the story because the story is fascinating. It's just so bogged down with the idea of what it's trying to do, you know? And I'm just a little bit disappointed, but hopefully I will get this finished tonight, and then tomorrow maybe I will have my final update, and then I'll start reading A Burning. It is Monday, June 22nd, and I have finished my book, which I was going to hold and be like, I finished this, look at this book that I'm holding while I discuss my thoughts. But one of my cats is currently asleep on it. So we're not doing that because I'm not disturbing this little boy who's asleep. He's so cute, but I didn't finish it. I don't actually remember the title either, which, so like, you know the title, I don't know the title. It was a dumb title, in my opinion. But I finished it on Saturday night, actually. I just didn't get a chance to film yesterday because yesterday was Father's Day in the United States. And I spent the whole day baking and then going over to see my father, which was fun, but also it meant my kitchen was destroyed and I was very busy and hot, and it was a day. It was a very busy day, and I was very tired at the end of it. So I figured I'd just update today. It's a 3-star read for me. I was really torn between 3 and 4 stars, and then I was like, I'm most certainly getting rid of this book. There's no universe in which I hold on to this book. And that kind of was telling me that like, this is a 3-star read for me. but it was like really, really good in some aspects. It's just, for me, the primary issue was that the most important aspect of this book, and it seemed like what the author was most focused on, were the discussions around sexuality and race and gentrification and income inequality. So that was the primary focus of the book, rather than the character development and the story and kind of the narrative. And I'm really torn on that, because on the one hand, I found that execution very poor, and I struggled with that a lot, because I wanted to care about the story, but it's clearly not about the story, and I think it failed in that regard. But on the other hand, the author did an amazing job of like discussing income inequality and like how it affects these characters through their lives, and of really tying this intricate backstory into like how it's been affected by income inequality and like all the other topics as well. That was just an example. But like, he did such a good job discussing it that it was so fascinating, and I really loved that aspect. It was just like coupled with what I felt was kind of a failure of a story. So that's why it's 3 stars, because there were parts I really loved, like when he got like really into like the discussion on like what it meant to be a gay Black man, like coming out to your parents as an adult. Like, fascinating. But the actual character, who was a gay Black man coming out to his parents as an adult, I didn't care about him so much. So it is a 3-star read. I think some of the writing was beautiful. A lot of the writing was too much. I don't know. It hit some notes. It didn't hit others. I think I'm really glad I read it. Like, it was such a worthwhile book. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I read it. It was a good experience. I just think it was more of a mixed bag, and I wish it'd been better. And I have started my final book of this vlog, which is A Burning by Megha Majumdar. This is set in India, about a girl who's accused of a terrorist attack. Essentially, a train was firebombed, and like 80 people died or something, 100 people died. And she posted on Facebook about it, kind of like slamming the cops, slamming the government. And they arrested her and found out she had been actually communicating with a terrorist recruiter. So they were like, well, clearly you're a terrorist who like helped plan and execute this attack. And she's like, I didn't even know he was a terrorist recruiter. He was just a boy. And it's kind of about her, and it's also about this woman named Lovely, who is an aspiring actress and also possibly the young girl's alibi. I'm not very far in, but so far it's a little too fast-paced for me, and I'm really worried this is gonna be another 3-star read, and I would really like to not have 3-star reads in this vlog, but like, we'll see. Once I get into her writing style, I might like it better. I don't know, because sometimes it's hard to tell like 20 pages in, where you're like, I'm kind of irritated by this writing style, but it's so new that it's like, maybe I just need like a minute to adjust, and it'll like become normal and natural to my brain. So I'm still giving it time, but I do think I'm a little bit frustrated by the pace and her writing style, and the chapters are so short, and it just makes them feel like really, really choppy when it's like a page or 2 page or like 3 pages max. And it's like, I want to stick with someone and like absorb them and have time with them, and when you're jumping heads so frequently, I don't have that time. But I'm not disliking it, and it's going a lot faster than the last book, so I should be able to finish this pretty easily by the time I go to the book fair on Saturday. It is Friday the 26th, and I am going to the book fair tomorrow, and I also have not finished A Burning. I am a little less than halfway through. I have made progress, and to be fair, I probably could have finished this book tonight. It's a really quick read. I read like 75 pages this afternoon, and it's it's so fast paced that it really like flies by. It's such a quick read. But I decided to spend 2 hours reorganizing my kitchen and pantry, and did that instead because that was something that was totally necessary and really needed to happen at 11 p.m. on a Friday night. It's almost midnight and I'm still like, what more could I do to reorganize my kitchen? And it's like, I went through almost all of the cupboards and the pantry, and my fridge and freezer are fine. Like, I don't know, my brain's just in a weird mood. So that's what I was doing instead of reading the book that I was supposed to be reading. But I don't think my thoughts on this have really changed much, and I don't think they will. Like, it is an interesting story. It's a very well crafted story with interesting and diverse characters, and to me it's just too fast paced and too disjointed. I like to sit in a character's head. I like to get to know them. I like to take my time with them. And I really don't like when books jump through points of view so quickly. I don't love short chapters, but short chapters are kind of okay by me if it's all from like the same perspective, either like first or third, doesn't matter. But if you're stuck with one character and the chapters are like 3 pages, not my favorite, but you can just kind of read through them and ignore the fact that there are chapter breaks. It's impossible for me to do that when every couple of pages you're flipping between characters, and there's so many characters. Like, there's the main girl who has been accused of a terrorist act that she didn't commit, and then there's her transgender friend who she was with at the time of the attack and is her alibi, and then there's her former PE teacher who's like of the opposite political party and kind of like slamming her and doing a bunch of bad things in politics that he doesn't really understand, I think. And then there's like her parents and guards and other prisoners and like her lawyer and random people that never show up again, and it just feels very choppy and disjointed, and I think it's very intentional. Like, I think she made a choice to write the book like that. It's just like, just because she did it on purpose doesn't make me enjoy it anymore. I do see how someone could like really like this though. Like, it's interesting. Like, it's not that I'm having a bad time reading it. I just don't like a lot of the choices she made in the writing. But the story itself and the characters are very interesting, and I'm kind of curious where it's going. So I will read more, but probably not finish this before I go to the book fair tomorrow. It is Monday, July 6th, which means it's been like a little over a week since I updated. We have been having the most brutal heat wave where I live. It's been like over 100 degrees every day with a heat index that's like significantly higher, and my AC decided not to work. So it's been like mid 80s inside every day. This is Fernando. He wants to say hi. Mostly to me because I just got home from work. He's extremely happy about it. He's been neglected all day long. And for him, not getting pets is true suffering. So yeah, it's been so hot the last week, and I just haven't been reading or like doing anything because it's just like I wake up and I'm hot. I go to bed, I'm hot. I exist and I'm hot. And like, is really not conducive towards being like a functioning individual. So I am still working on a burning. I'll finish the vlog when I finish this book, because I am like halfway, a little over halfway, I think. But it's still kind of just like a little bit annoying, a little bit exhausting, a little bit I don't care, but it's not bad, so I don't want to DNF it, you know? Like, it's a 3-star unless it gets worse. It's not gonna be a 4-star. That's about where I'm at with this book, so I'm just trying to finish this off. I also did go to the book fair. I did not vlog anything because I didn't go alone, so I was like, I'm not I can vlog a little bit in public by myself. I cannot vlog at all in public with someone else there. Like, not a chance. But I bought 16 books. So my next video after this will very probably be a book haul. So look forward to that. But yeah, I bought a lot of books and it was very fun. And I haven't bought like a whole box of books in years. So I had a really good time. It is still Monday, July 6th, and I have actually finished a burning. It's amazing how much a little bit of air conditioning can just like wake up your brain, because I have not been functioning at all the last like week, 2 weeks, longer than that maybe. Oh, it feels so nice, and it's not even like cold in here. I think it's 79 degrees right now, but it's like not humid and not 85, and that makes a world of difference. But I finished this. I kind of just sat down and read most of the evening, and it is like 10 o'clock now. So I will say, I will give this book that it has a very good ending. I have kind of been struggling with it the whole way through, and I was concerned about how she was going to end it, just because I didn't like a lot of her narrative style. I didn't like a lot of the storytelling choices that she was making. Not that I necessarily think all of them were bad choices, they just didn't work for me. Although I didn't think all of them were great choices, to be honest. But not the book for me. It's like main takeaway. But I thought the ending was really wonderfully done, and I thought it had a complexity and a depth that a lot of the rest of the book was lacking, and the ending touched me in a way that like the rest of the book did not. Apologies if you can hear the thunder, it's storming pretty bad right now. But yeah, the ending was like really wonderfully done. Still 3 stars. Like I said, there was no getting this book to be 4 stars, no matter how great the ending was. It was kind of a struggle for me to get through. Like, the actual reading of it wasn't that bad, but it was just one of those books I never wanted to pick up, and I wasn't really invested in the stories or the outcomes of any of the characters. And even now that I've finished it, and even after thinking about how great the ending was, I still don't really care about any of the people involved in the story. I never really liked her writing style. She made some choices I didn't like, and then she made others that just didn't work for me, like the really short chapters and the flipping between heads that never works well for me. But it wasn't a terrible book. I think it was fine for the most part, with a pretty great ending. I am glad I read it. I'm glad the ending was good, because otherwise I feel like this would have been a much more sour experience. But the ending kind of made reading it worthwhile, if that makes sense, even if it was still just a 3 star. So that means I have finished all 3 books for this vlog. I bought 3 books, I read 3 books, and now I'm unhauling 3 books. So I don't know, it feels like a net neutral, except I also spent like $20, so like it's a net negative, I feel. I paid $20 for this experience that, to be honest, I wasn't expecting all 3 of these books to be kind of on the mediocre side, which is disappointing. I really need to go like read something good now, just like something I'm just gonna find really compelling and enjoyable, because I don't know, I feel like this vlog was a bummer and I'm not super thrilled with it, and I was expecting to really enjoy 2 of these, you know, or at least 1 of these. I thought 1 of these would be great just based on reading their descriptions, and then they were all just, you know, you win some, you lose some. None of these were terrible. If they sound like your kind of thing, I wouldn't say don't pick them up, but maybe read some reviews and see if the choices that were made work for you. Like I said, my next video will likely be a book haul of like all the books that I bought at the Massive Book Fair, because it's been a minute since I did like a box of books haul, and they're really fun and easy to film. And then I think I'll get back into doing reading vlogs, as I'm too lazy for more reliable content at this point. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I do feel somewhat confident that you will see me again soon.